Hare Krishna, and we are back with the Elevation to Krishna Consciousness by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, page number 50. Nowadays, it is becoming fashionable for people to claim that they are becoming God by meditation. This means that by meditation, it is possible to transform oneself into God. In other words, God meditates, and by meditation, he becomes God. This is all nonsense. God is God, and he was always God, and will always be God. Even as an infant on the lap of his mother, Krishna is God. No meditation was required, no austerity or penance. When Putana, the demonic witch, came to poison baby Krishna, she came as a beautiful young girl and asked Mother Yashoda, "Oh Yashoda Mai, you have a very nice baby. Will you kindly give him to me so I can nurse him?" Yashoda was a very simple village woman, and she said, "Oh yes, you can take my child." Putana had smeared poison on her breasts, and she intended to kill Krishna by letting him suck them. This is the demonic spirit. The demons are always wanting to kill Krishna, so they can say, God is dead, there is no God, God is impersonal. Krishna was so kind to Putana that he allowed her to nurse him, but when he sucked her breasts, he not only sucked out the poison, but her life as well. Putana fell to the ground, dead, and was immediately transformed into her original demonic form. So this is God. In the lap of his mother, he is God. He doesn't have to become God by meditation, penance, austerity, or by following rules or regulations. He is substantially and eternally God and has nothing to do. If one claims that he can become God by worshipping such and such a deity or by meditating, we should immediately take it that he is not God but a dog. In understanding God, he must be careful to accept the Vedic conclusion only. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. God has nothing to do. Why would God have to do something to become God? If we manufacture gold, that is artificial gold, not real gold. Gold is natural, and similarly God is natural. In his childhood pastimes, in the lap of his mother, he is God. While he is playing with his boyfriends, he is God. While he is dancing, he is God. While he is fighting at Kurukshetra, he is God. While he is married to his queens, he is God. While he is speaking, he is God. There is no difficulty in understanding God. All that is required of us is that we listen to Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, he tells Arjuna, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Quote, I am the source of everything. From me the entire creation flows. Knowing this, the wise worship me with all their hearts. Unquote. Bhagavad Gita 10.8. This means that Sri Krishna is the fountainhead of Lord Shiva and the origin of Vishnu and of Brahma, and of course of all other demigods and other living entities, living creatures. He says further, Mamaivamsho jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana manashasthani indriyani prakritistani karshati. The living entities in this conditional world are my fragmental parts, and they are eternal. But due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Bhagavad Gita 15.7. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma explains that if we are looking for God, here is God. Premanjana Chirita Bhakti Vilochanena Shantah Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shyama Sundarama Chintya Gunaswarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Quote, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyama Sundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their hearts of hearts with the eyes of devotion, tinged with the salve of love. Unquote. Brahma Samhita 5.38. There are similar descriptions everywhere in Vedic literature, but rascals and demons are so obstinate that even though Krishna is confirmed to be the supreme God by the 12 standard acharyas, Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Bhishma, the Kumaras, Kapila, Manu, etc., and by Vyasa, Devala, and many other devotees, they still refuse to accept him. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also confirms that Krishna is the supreme Godhead, and the Srimad Bhagavatam says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Srimad Bhagavatam gives a list of all incarnations of God, and at last concludes that the name Krishna, which appears on this list, indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas all other names represent manifestations or incarnations. Ete Chamsha Kalach Pumsach. All other names of God are either parts of God or portions of parts. The parts are called Amsha, and the portions of parts are called Kalaha. As living entities, we are Amsha, but we are very fragmental Amsha. All others are either Amsha or Kalaha, but Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our prayers should be directed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and none else. Therefore, we pray with Brahma. Chintamani prakarasadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhira bibalayantam Lakshmi sahasrashata sambrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, fulfilling all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of wish-fulfilling trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. Unquote. Brahma Samhita 5.29. Here, Krishna is called the original person, Adi Purusham. We are all persons. Our father is a person, and therefore we are persons. If we trace our father's father back, we will find that he was also a person, and that his father was a person, and so on, all the way back to Lord Brahma, who was the first created person in this universe. Then we will also find that Lord Brahma's father, Vishnu, is also a person. Everyone is a person, and Krishna is the supreme person. The impersonalist's understanding of God is called Nirarcha. Ni means negative, and Archa means form. So Nirarcha means negative form. The impersonalists are mistaken when they think that God has no form at all. The word Nirarcha does not indicate that he has no form, but that he has no material form as we do. Form is there, but it is not material, it is spiritual form. What is the value of our form? This form will be changed after a few years, as soon as we give up the body. Our forms are changed just as we change our suits and dresses, but God doesn't have a form like this. Therefore, he is sometimes called Nirarcha. Form is there, but that also has been explained in Brahma Samhita. Lord Brahma describes his form in this way. Venum kvanvantam aravinda dalaya taksham barhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami angani yasya sakalendra yavriti manti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujvala vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept at playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head bedecked with a peacock's feather, and the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, and substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. Brahma Samhita 5.30 and 32. This form has nothing whatsoever to do with material forms. Impersonalists say, "Oh, you say Krishna has a form. If so, how can you say that he is the supreme? The impersonal Brahman is the supreme, and the impersonal Brahman is formless." But we have information from Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is the source of the impersonal Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtanam amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya kantikasya cha. Quote, I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal and imperishable, eternal, the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Bhagavad Gita 14.27. Unquote. Krishna has certainly form, but his form, as stated before, is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha, eternal, full of bliss, and full of knowledge. The attributes of his transcendental body are summarized by Lord Brahma in this way. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. Brahma Samhita 5.1. The word Govinda means he who gives pleasures to the senses. We perceive pleasure through our senses, and therefore Krishna, who is the reservoir of pleasure, is called Govinda. If we serve Krishna with purified senses, we will begin to relish the pleasure of that supreme reservoir. How can we describe God or understand his glories? It is not possible. God is unlimited. Regardless of our finite limitations, however, we can express our own feelings and say, "My Lord, my God." This will be accepted. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us to pray in this way. Ainanda tanoja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam budau kripaya tava pada pankaja stita duli sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servitor, and although I am so, somehow or other I have fallen in the ocean of birth and death. Please, therefore, pick me up from this ocean of death and fix me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Shikshashtakam, verse 5. This should be the standard of prayer. Jai. we're going to stop here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and the link to this book is in the description, where you can read, download, or purchase the copy of this wonderful, wonderful book. We're directly reading how does Krishna look, what is his form, what does he do, what does he not do, he has nothing to do. And yes, and tomorrow we will finish this chapter and start another chapter called Knowing Krishna's Energies. It's very, very important. So stay tuned. This was Shravanam Diaries. Thank you again for tuning in today, and we will see you next time.